Langelo from A Plus Racing, and I'm bringing you a video on how I install the belts starting from scratch, and I'm going to be putting in a seat, an aluminum seat, not an FIA seat. Anyhow, let me show you what I got here. I got a new set of belts that I just picked up from Summit Racing, and usually these are the things I'm going to need in order to put the belts in and the seat. So if I order the belts, this is how the belts come. When I look at the end of the belt, it doesn't come with the right bracket. So let me show it to you. Okay, so here's the belt, and it comes with this, okay? The problem with this is I've got eye hooks in my car. So I use these hooks when I'm installing my belts and my seats. So I went ahead and I bought the 3-inch quick releases. I've got one that's a 2-inch. I picked up 2 of these even though I didn't need them. And then I've got some fender washers, some grade 8 bolts, some little Carter pins, and I got a backstabber, okay? So this is what I'm gonna need to put the belts and the seat in. All right, so the way that the seatbelt system kind of works is this threads into the car, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then what happens is this part just clips on like that, okay? So let me show you how we do it. The first thing I have to do is I have to modify the belts in order to fit with these, all right? Because, I mean, I've used these in the past. You have to put like a spacer washer here and a bolt, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. So I don't normally use these that come with the belt. I do use them for other things, but not for the belts. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and unweave the belt, and I'm gonna go ahead and replace that in. So let me show you how I do it. And this is a 3-inch belt. Okay, so I just unweave it out of here, like that, and I take that part out. I'm gonna give myself a little bit more room. So I just slid that collar up a little bit, okay? So if this collar is not on, like maybe you bought a used set of belts or something and somebody gave it to you like that, note that the belt starts from the underneath, then goes over the top of it. Can't do it backwards, okay? Don't go the other way. So it's gotta look like that. All right, so I'm gonna start this like this, okay? So it looks like that. All right, now I'm gonna grab this part right here with the spring-loaded clip in it, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna come in from the bottom, like that. And I bring it down, and then I'm gonna go ahead and weave this back through again. So it goes like that. And I go all the way back through this one again. So I have it like that. And then this one has to come back through here again. So that's why I want to make sure I have plenty of room. Okay, and I'm going to come back through here, like that. Okay, and that's how it goes back on. All right, so this one's done. All right, so I'm going to end up needing 3 of these, 1 2-inch and 2 3-inch. So that one's done. So I do the same thing to this one. So I'm going to go ahead and set this belt aside. Okay. All right, you can see here, I'm going to be putting this on here. So I'm going to unweave it out of here. Take that off. Take that one off. Pull that off. I'm going to slide this up a little bit, give me a little more room. Okay, come in. I want you to come in really close here where you can see what I'm doing. All right, because it is kind of tricky. All right, so I have the belt woven under, over, under. Okay, I'm going to come in from the under. All right, so if I was to go backwards and go over like this, I can't weave it through there like I'm supposed to. All right, so that's why I got to come in from the other side. All right, so I come in from the bottom. I'm going to come up like that, give myself enough room to do there and come back. Okay, so I'm going to weave it back through here, like that. Back through this one, like that. And then any time that we're finishing off the belt. So now sometimes I'll leave it like that in case I got to adjust it or move it. But when I'm finished with it, which I am already, then I'm going to pull it back through like that. And that's what they're looking for in order to pass tech. Okay? So I have those two done. So now I need to do the crotch belt, the same thing. Okay? So if you notice, it's got this little bolt on one. And sometimes we use them, but I'm not in this case. So I'm going to take this off. Okay, I'm not going to use those. It's the same thing. I'm just doing it exactly the same as I did the other one. And I might have to come back in here and readjust this belt when we start putting a driver in it. So I might see this again. All right. That. Okay. So I've got those ones done. I'm going to take this out. All right. And these are the things I'm going to use. So these I'm not using. And this is a 5-point harness set. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to move to the inside of the car, and then I'm going to show you how I put all this stuff on. All right. All right. Let's move to the car. Okay. I'm back at you. We're inside of the car that we're going to put this new harness set in. So if you notice, it already has the eyes in here. So there's one here, there's one here, and then I put this one here in the middle. Now, so these eyes, they're the exact same thread as the seatbelt bracket bolt, all right? So there's a seatbelt hole here that's already threaded, and it's the same pitch and everything, man. It's gravy. So all I do is I just thread those eyes into the seatbelt hole that goes right there. If you can't do that because maybe the car has been modified, you can just drill a hole and then put a nut on the back side of the eye, and then you'll be good. But you want to make sure you put a big washer on the other side, and I'll show you some of those a little later on. All right, so this one's threaded into the seatbelt brackets, which is great. This thing here, I added to it. Actually, the seat that was in here had a 6-point harness, and so I took the 6-point out. I'm going to a 5-point. So I added this little metal bracket here. Sometimes these come with the belts, and it's got a nut on it, and so it's made to go like underneath the car, and then this eye bolt threads into this bracket with a nut on there. But what I did is I just flipped it upside down here, dead center, and I welded it in place right here. So this will be my crotch belt, because this seat had 2 eyes in here. It actually had one threaded here and one threaded over here. And so now we're moving to a single eye because it's a 5-point and not a 6-point. Hope that makes sense. All right, so let's go ahead and get our belt set up. So this belt is going to go right here, and all I need to do is, if you just watch closely, is I just need to clip it on. Bam, there it is. Okay, so there's that one. All right, so these are shoulder belts. All right, so here's my latch belts, and I like my latch to where I can grab it with my right hand and pull it. All right, so I can pull it off. All right, so I'm going to set this one over here. All right, so I can see that it's right here, and just going to pop it on like that. Okay, and then this one on this side. Okay, the belt needs to sit like that. So I'm just going to pop it on right here, like that. Okay, and that belt's on. Now, they're not race legal yet because I have one more step. I need those little Carter pins, so let me grab them real quick. Okay, all right, come on down in here. They're gonna look for this, all right? If you're using this style, they wanna see that you put a Carter pin through this hole, okay, and that you bent it up on the other side so that this little latch cannot spring open at any time. So if you notice, I got the seat out. This is the best time to do these belts, when the seat is out, because when the seat is in, sometimes it's almost impossible to get to these belts right here. Okay? So we took the seat out to paint it, and it needed belts, so I went ahead and decided to do this video right now because it makes it nice and easy with the seat out, the hard top is off. Okay, so those belts are on, and I want to make sure that they're lined up, they're facing the right way, that they're not twisted when, you know, it has to go latch together. That when it latches together, that it's right. I don't want to put those in backwards to where I end up with the belt is upside down. Okay, so those belts are good. Let's take those out of the way. And the crotch belt is good. Now, if you notice, the crotch belt is now a chin belt, so this is way too long. So we'll adjust that a little bit later. Okay, so now I have the shoulder harness belts, and there is a right and there's a left. So let's look and see what we got here. Okay, so this one is a left, all right? So I know it's a left because of the way that this is bent. So I want it, the L part, to be on the inside, all right? So this one goes like that, and then, glue that little thing down. This one goes like this, okay? That's how they go, all right? So it comes with this end on it. Yeah, you're right. We don't need that, so I'm getting rid of that. So I'm gonna pull this off. Like that. Okay, this, well, we don't need that. All right, so this part we need. Okay, so here I go. You see how I've got it, all right? Okay, so now watch me over here. Okay, so I'm gonna go from the under the bar. I go under the bar, and I go through my little belt clip, okay? And I try to keep this metal bracket within a couple inches of the harness bar, okay? And then this goes like that. Okay. Now I'm not going to finish this belt off yet because I don't know how much length I need. So I'm not going to finish it off by weaving it underneath there because I know I'm going to have to do an adjustment. So I'm going to leave it like that for now. Okay, so there is the left one. Okay. Here is my right one, and I need to get rid of that guy. So we'll take this apart. Hey, looks like we're getting a lot of new subscribers, man. I love those comments when it's like, this YouTube channel is the fastest growing thing on YouTube. Keep up the great work. I love those. Got a new friend in Arizona, and we talked about Miatas yesterday. He wants to be just like me when he grows up. I think a overweight, middle-aged Hispanic. Nah, he wants to possibly start his own race car rental business in Arizona. But anyhow, so a great guy. I think his name was Clint. But it was great talking to you yesterday, buddy. Look forward to meeting you. All right, so if you notice, I'm just weaving this one exactly the same as I did before, and I'm gonna leave it like that, okay? All right, so the belts are basically all in. So what I need to do now is I need to get the seat and then bolt the seat back in, all right? So I'll be back in just a couple of minutes and I'll get the seat. All right, see you in a minute. Okay, so here I am with two different types of seats. I have an aluminum Kirky right here, and I've got a Sparco FIA seat here. The reason why I really like mounting these aluminum seats, it's a lot easier than the Sparcos or the FIA seat. With the FIA seat, you have to use special brackets that bolt to the floor and then bolt to the side of the seat. Well, if you're a thin, good-looking Hispanic athlete like myself, the seat is this wide, and the Miata is only this wide. And I gotta fit those in between the tunnel and the rocker panel. They don't fit very well, okay? So these seats are really, really difficult for me to put in the car. They're also extremely expensive. So this seat is like $1,000. This one's about 500. All right, so they're hard to mount. They're good for 5 years, and then they time out. You can add a backstabber to them, but there's no place to bolt it to because this fabric stays on there. They are a great seat and they're super comfortable. And I do own a couple cars that have those from years back. But for the most part, I usually just go with these. When these seat covers wear out, I can just buy another cover. When this one wears out, they just look bad. It's all coming apart and they don't make a cover for it. So I just kind of stay away from those. That one was in the car when I bought it, but I can't even get a butt cheek in it. You know, this one here, this is a 17-inch Kirky. I can put this in a Miata without too many modifications. If I go much bigger than this, then I have to expand the tunnel. And they make a kit for that. Maybe I'll do it someday. They're pretty easy. I've done it in a couple of my cars. Gives you lots of room to put a big seat in there. But for the most part, I just use these ones right here. And I really like these full containment seats by Kirky. The other thing I do to them also, if you come in here and look, you can see that I drilled multiple holes here. So what I do is, that's how I can move the seat forward and backwards, because I rent out to a many different variety of drivers as height. And so I can move the seat forward and backward really easy by just taking those 2 bolts out and loosening up the backstabber. And we'll talk about the backstabber here in a minute. So I'm gonna bring it back to you here in a second, and we're gonna go ahead and work on putting this seat in. Be right back. Okay, I got the seat in the car, all right? And if you see, it's a 17-inch seat, and there's plenty of room from side to side. All right, I already lined up my holes of where I want to go through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get a big fender washer. I'm going to drop that one through there like that. Okay, so this one here, another big fender washer. Put it through like that. Okay, and then on the bottom, I'm also going to add a fender washer. So I'm going to add a fender washer, and then I have these nylock nuts that I'm going to use, and these are all grade A, and so they're extremely hard. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tighten the seat down. So what I did was, I've already had this seat mounted in this car, so the holes were already here. But if I was to be putting in a brand new seat, sometimes I always get in the car with no bolts, and then I move the seat around and get to the angle that I get it. And then sometimes I'll mark it like right here, and I'll mark it on the roll cage, and I'll mark it here, and I'll mark it on the tunnel. And then I'll come back and get out of the car and drill holes in it. Sometimes I'll put a 2x4 underneath here. I don't leave the 2x underneath there, but if I wanted the seat to be higher, then I would put something underneath to get the height that I want until I get to where I like it. You know, I look out the window and I see how I fit in the car. And then, so if it's like a 2x4, then I know I need to go up 1.5 inches. And then usually what I do is I buy like 1.5 inch square tubing, and then I'll cut it the width of this, and then I'll run bolts all the way through the tubing and through the floor. So you can put something underneath this. I'm running this one all the way on the ground. This one has a pretty thick cover, and it fits me all the way down. I might have to add just a little bit of foam for me to look through the center of the windshield, but a lot of my drivers who rent these cars are a little taller than I am, and so this helps them where they're not hitting the roof with their helmet on the hardtop. Okay, so I usually just bolt in the floor. If some of my cars, it's all the way down and all the way back, and when I do that on an aluminum seat, I can get a 6'4" driver in the car. So those are some tips for you. If you're taller or shorter, you may have to add a spacer or do like I'm doing here, and I'm running this all the way down to the ground. All right, so I'm going to add a fender washer to the bottom of these grade 8s, and then I'm going to put these nylocks on there, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tighten this down. All right, and I'll be back to what's next. All right, I'll be right back. All right, we're back. We got the seat bolted in. So you notice that I use these fender washers. Now, I highly recommend that you use some type of big washer on both sides, okay? Pinch this seat in between the car. Sometimes I'll take a metal flat bar and I'll go the full length right here, and I'll have the holes drilled, and I'll use that on the top here. But at least use fender washers on here, okay? And then the more the merrier. And so we had an extra hole over here that lined up. We went ahead and just threw another washer and bolt on both sides just because we already had it on here. All right, and so, but if you notice, the seat's not really secure, okay? It's because that's a problem with aluminum seats. They're not real secure like that. If this was an FIA seat, then you'd be good because it's all molded. So what we do is, it's by technical mandate, we have to add what we call a backstabber. It's called a rear seat brace, but we call them backstabbers. So I have a simple backstabber here. You can make them. I've made them before. I don't make them anymore. I just buy them. It's just easier. It's a lot faster. And so it's just a couple of clamps, and it bolts to the back of the seat. So let me show you how the backstabber goes on. All right, here we go. So out here, I have the backstabber. It's right here. And so I'm going to go ahead and take off the bolts here. That this all comes with the backstabber. These bolts, the backstabber comes with pretty much everything you need except for the Allen wrenches. So I'm going to take these off off here. This one's kind of stuck. There we go. All right. And unfortunately, these things are kind of pricey. They're over $100. All right. So, and it's got a couple of clamps. All right. So this here, these little Allens are loose. This moves back and forth. Okay. So this is going to go. It's going to bolt on here, and then this end goes on here. All right. So let's go ahead and get it bolted to the back of the seat. All right. Maybe we'll put these on this side. Pretty tight fit. There we go. All right. Put a nut on here. These came with nylocks, by the way, and I really like using nylocks. So I use nylocks on just about everything I put together if I have to buy some type of bolt. Then I use the nylocks. Goes through. There we go. Okay. And add the nut onto that and try not to drop it down the back of the seat. That's like nowhere land. Stuff goes back there and it never comes out again. I had a lady one time that told me she lost her diamond to her diamond ring back there. So we pulled the seat out, we tore the whole interior apart. We never found that diamond. Every time I told kids, yeah, there's a diamond in there somewhere. I get it, I get to keep it. Yeah, go ahead. But we've never found it. So I don't know if it's still in the car or out on turn 2 at Thunder Hill somewhere. All right, so we almost got these all back in. And the backstabber's not hard to mount. None of this stuff is hard. It's all really easy. So, I mean, I think the most difficult part of this would be welding that bracket in if you're not a welder. You could take it to a shop, they could do it. I've seen people make a little bracket that's threaded and just bolt it down. And so you could do that too. All right, so I'm not gonna tighten up anything until I got the whole thing put back together. So we're gonna put this on next. Goes on there like that. And then here's the top part of it. Okay, set that there. Oh, these go down here. That's nice. That's gonna be fun. Okay, so remember like a couple minutes ago I told you how nothing is hard here? I can foresee this being a pain in the butt right here. This might be one of this might be one of these things where we go like, yeah, we're gonna have to come back after these brief intermission. I can see that this is going to, we might have to modify this Allen wrench. What I mean by that is cut some of it off because it's pretty close to the beam here of it. Okay, that one started. We got this one. Okay. Tightening it up. Okay, so I got them started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and you can see what I'm doing here. I don't want to spend 15 minutes tightening these up while you guys sit here and watch. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten these ones up, and then I'm going to tighten these ones up, and I'll be right back with finishing up our seat and belt installation. Go. Okay, I got those tight. It wasn't that hard, but tight fit. So now I'm just tightening up the backstabber here. So it's got an Allen on one side, still a 7/16 on the other. We're almost finished here. Last one. And of course, there's a clearance issue. I'm going to tighten it up on the Allen side. Okay. There we go. Almost got it. So we got a bunch of cars rented out for the SCCA school. If you ever thought about maybe getting your competition license, it's a good place to go to get 3 days of track time and see if you like it. Okay. All right. So this is tight. That's tight. I got one left thing to tighten here, and that is this big nut here for the back leather. So it's a nylock, so I don't have to crank it down and bend the bracket. I don't want to do that. I just want to tighten it up far enough to where it's not going to come loose, that the nylock is actually doing what it's supposed to be doing. Because I could see that that center bar is narrower than the U bracket that it's going through. And so I don't want to crush the whole thing. So the nylock is going to hold it tight. Even though I don't tighten it up all the way, it won't back off and fall out. Okay. All right. Okay. That's much more firmer. All right. You guys hang out right there. I'm going to grab the seat covers. Okay. And put the seat cover back in. Okay, there's that one and this one. All right. And I also shortened up our crotch belt a little bit. I know I still need more adjustment, but it's not a chin belt any longer. So I'm not gonna clip everything in until I can already tell it's still too long. So that pad goes there. This one goes on here, like that. There, it snaps in place. Okay. All right, then my belt, weave in through here. There's that one. That one. Let's see if we can get this going through here. Okay. Okay, we got that one. So our belts are all present and accounted for. And the way it's going to latch together is this one's going to go on first, like that. This one goes in the middle, like that. This one goes on this side. And then our whole latch assembly goes through there like that. And it clips into place. Okay, so what we need now is a test pilot. All right, so let me see if I can round up a test pilot that we can put in here, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get the belts adjusted. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back. In case you didn't notice, we've got Mike in the car. So you guys have heard of Mike a lot, and you've heard me talk about Mike, but this is Mike. He wasn't a fictional character I made up. So Mike is actually, he's, Mike is a trim, athlete, finely tuned. So we're going to go ahead and fit him in the car. All right. So So we have our shoulder belts here, all right? So, and they're not the same length. So I want to get them the same length, and I want to get them to be to where they're going to be about right here. So right about where his belly button ring is at. Yeah, you didn't want to show him your belly button ring? It's a little dolphin go with this Tinkerbell that's swimming around. It's really cute. All right, he's very proud of it. Okay, all right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten these up some, okay? So if we come back over here, remember I didn't, you come in a little closer, you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to shorten these up, okay? So I didn't lock these in place so that I could come back and adjust them. So I'm going to go ahead and pull them up. And usually the G-force sign, usually that's kind of goes like right on the shoulder or pretty close to where the shoulder's at. All right, so I'm going to go there. And I'm still not going to lock these in yet. Okay. So I'm not going to fully weave it all the way back. I'm just getting, can you hold still? All right, so we've got to do this one too. All right. So you always got to test the belts before you lock everything in, because you hate to get to the racetrack and nothing fits. Okay, so it looks like it needs to go about right there. And I'll show you what I'm lining it up with here in a second. All right, come back through here. Okay, go ahead and go back to where you were. So you're probably wondering, well, Mike's in the car, who's filming? Well, we picked somebody out of the film production class next door. All right, so do you see where the patch is right here? I made the patches even. That's gonna put me about even where I need to be. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and lengthen these out, and we're gonna see how Mike is. Okay, so we got this, wait, just raise your hand, Mike. Okay, so we put that one there. We adjusted the crotch belt a little bit so I wouldn't have to fish around down there on Mike. All right, okay. I'm liking how everything's fitting so far. Okay, now, obviously Mike doesn't have a Hans device on, so we're gonna be a little bit long without the Hans device. But I noticed that when I'm fully down, that I'm pretty close, you know? They're pretty close. It's actually pretty good, all right? So that looks like that's adjusted well. And, you know, it's just, you know, by the little Tinkerbell belly button ring at Mike has. Okay, so let's finish this off back here. So let me pop that. Okay, so now to finish the belt off, I'm going to come back through the buckle, like that. Okay. Come back through the buckle. And now that makes it tech legal and as safe as we could get it. Okay, like that. So now what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to roll these up, and then I'll put a zip tie through them to hold them so they're not all flapping around back here, and I'll post a picture on that when we get done. All right, so that's how you put the belts in, and that's how you put an aluminum seat in. I really appreciate you guys watching the video. Thank you for subscribing. We're getting great subscribers. I get great comments. So if you have a comment, please put it in there. I love reading them and I answer them all. If you like the video and it's helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you at the racetrack.